on the red side. First two bans, seeing it is going to be the Faramis as well as the Valentina. Interesting.
Okay, Faramis, definitely one of those heroes where it's like, is the power level good enough to be able to completely break the game? Similar to Vexana coming in from Todak, which I think is very reasonable. Todak, once again, we've seen this pattern before. They like being on red side. We've seen it throughout Season 9. They're like, I just want red side, win, lose, I don't care. As long as we're on this side of the map, we'll be totally fine. Suhas now have to respond. And speaking of this new patch, right, how much is it going to really change these bans? Because we're still seeing these Mashas being banned out. It wouldn't be too surprising. Well, I don't know.
I don't know about
Julian,
Todak.
Xavier, you know what I'm talking about?
I think Xavier and Julian kind of fits in the picture, but Julian has been nerfed a little bit in the private meta, so I don't think it's going to be a-okay. Xavier as well with the recent hotfix, but I have to give a little bit more rebound on towards Todak side as well. They do like to lean on towards red side just because of how they want to keep it up on edge to be able to respond to any team out there rather than just being dependent on that first pick phase, grabbing out important heroes and comfort heroes. But however, talking about this, if we compare this patch to the previous patch, there are still the potential tank junglers into Vector's meta. The Franco is still a viable option. It may be something that they may consider, and on top of it all, Fanny is still pretty good as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, and especially since that they've kind of reverted the jungler meta, the tank jungle meta into something a little bit more flexible. Assassins and marksmen are coming back in. Once again, it's a fresh new start, and I'm very happy for anybody who's just been sick of the tank meta. I personally have been sick of it, but hey, you know, considering that Franco is still viable, maybe it hasn't ended completely.
Well, I'm not sick of the tank meta. I'm a tank player. I'm happy playing a tank jungler. You know, sometimes if there's two tanks in the team, yeah, okay, I'll go to jungle, no problem. But at the same time, let's talk about the bans right now. Fanny being banned off Suhas Esports, they do respect that Yumski does play a potential tank Fanny before, and they made up to bring it up as well, and maybe a little bit of an indicator that Rival is a pretty good Fanny player himself.
Well, let's not forget that Yums also is capable of playing Fanny, as we mentioned before, many times during Season 9, and sometimes we get to see it once in a while, get a little bit of a taste. But now Todak, with the final ban in this very first phase, we can see their screens on stage. Let's see what they're leaning more towards. So far, I mean, they've gotten rid of a guaranteed get rid of 1-1. There we go. A must-pick, must-ban situation.
Yeah, it's just too hard to deal with as well, and there are just not a lot of heroes that can actually mess up with 1-1. Forcing a Kufra, forcing Phoveus to actually deal with it is not exactly a viable solution as well. Even then, Phoveus was completely ignored and constantly tried by the previous Suhas Esports roster, so it didn't exactly do too well for them. So in this case, not taking a risk is going to be the safe play, but what is going to be the first pick priority for Suhas Esports? Do they take the Franco? Nope. They are going to be sticking on towards the Julian instead. But the question remains, is this an XP Julian or a jungle Julian?
I think it's all about the flexibility, right? When you're on blue side, you need to be flexible. You got to make sure, because at the end of the day, you're going to get some really good power picks. And if you don't show too much with your first pick, Todak, again, they're looking for as strong as a two-pair combo as you can get, right? Or if they're looking to spread their wings wide to cover as much ground as possible to wrap around the Suhas Esports draft, they can opt to go with that opening as well.
Agreed, but Todak, what are they going to be prioritizing? Are they going to first pick the Xavier, or are they going to be prioritizing the Franco? These are two very, very strong contenders. Or are they going to go with the Archive pickup? It seems like this time, in terms of the drafts, it's going to be Chiku that is going to be leading the drafts with Todak instead.
Hey man, I mean, the analyst is a really important role.
Okay, actually both of them got the headset, my bad.
It's just momentary, lost in the moment. But yes, Todak, they're going to go with something a little bit wider. This isn't the strongest two-pair combo that you can get in the game, but getting Yves and as well as Thamos, both very, very useful when it comes down to just peeling and as well as just overall team fighting. I think there's a little bit of synergy between the two, but they're obviously good in their own respective lanes.
Yeah, I like how Todak is prioritizing the Thamos now. It has been really popular in the ranked games as well, just for both the jungler role as well as the XP lane. But I'm leaning more on XP just because if you go for the old jungler meta where you go for the jungle emblem, it doesn't exactly benefit Thamos too much in terms of spell wham as compared to the Festival of Blood. So maybe Todak, they are still leaning on towards XP lane-wise, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it on the jungle role for Todak.
Absolutely. And I think, well, honestly, there would have been an argument for, you know, Terizla to be put in instead of Thermos, but, you know, the hot picks kind of changed that. I'll get into it later on in the game, but Suhas Esports, they lock in the Akai as well as the Beatrix. And I think right now, this 3 composition that we're seeing from Suhas Esports, very spread out. They're fulfilling the important roles, right? And they still have some flexible picks with the Akai and as well as the Julian.
Yeah, I definitely agree. When it comes to Suhas Esports, it feels like this is going to be a repeat from previous season, but nope, looks like the Tamos is set in stone, going to be on the XP lane. Todak going to be bringing in the Ling, but the Akai from Suhas Esports, I don't know, is this going to be a tank Akai in the jungle, or is it going to be a roaming Akai instead? So I'm looking forward to see whether or not this is going to be the case for Suhas Esports, but Todak, they made it very clear this is an XP Tamos.
Yeah, EXP Thamos, we have Ling in the jungle, and it's good to see, you know, these top assassin picks come back into meta a little bit more often. And I think for Todak, it's not too bad because they are on red side, right? With these next couple of bans, they can really limit down the options and matchups that Suhas Esports has with their flexible picks, right? So if they go for if they want to throw Akai up and towards the EXP lane, fine, sure. Let's get rid of the Esmeralda first of all. First and foremost, get rid of the top bad matchups for Thamos specifically.
This is... I was expecting them to actually shut down counters for Ling, but looks like they are going to be focusing on making sure that 4Maze wins their lane matchup against Suhas Esports. And currently, Suhas, what other XP laners are pretty good against Thamos? Because that's not really a lot. And forcing like Suhas Esports to play a Khalid or maybe a Ruby isn't too bad, but it's not exactly great to actually deal with a Ling on top of a Thamos as well.
Okay, let's think about how Thamos really works, right? I mean, in team fights, he's somewhat useful. Initially, you want him to dominate the lane, gain as much map control in the early to mid game as possible, and then use that power spike to actually turn the advantage in team fights, right? Banning out Esmeralda and Uranus would indicate that Todak want to say, we don't want you to sandbag us, we don't want you to stall the game for as long as possible, we are looking to be aggressive, we are looking to play through mid. Suhas Esports, I think it's a really good idea to be banning out the Claude as well as the Franco. Make sure that Momo isn't going to feel too comfortable. I don't think it's the best way to kind of attack this particular draft, but at the end of the day, hey, Momo, he's been through worse, like a lot worse.
I think the Popo and Koopa isn't too bad coming from Todak, but instead, I was expecting maybe a Matilda coming from Yumski, but this time he's bringing in the Grok instead. I was expecting maybe something a Cho for him, knowing he does have this aggressive nature of playmaking capabilities, but Grok isn't too bad to actually deal with the entirety of Suhas Esports, especially the Julian on top of it with the wall charge.
Yeah, no, I think this is really respectable here. Now, it's going to be a big question mark because we've seen a lot of Grok players during Season 9 really struggle to find those like impressive wall charge, flicker wall charge combos against the wall, against the Guardian's barrier, especially against marksmen. So, I don't know, the goal laner for Suhas Esports has to be especially careful because it's not easy to react to it.
I think the idea here is pretty much to try and stall back the follow-up, especially if the Akai jumps in with heavy, or a heavy spin. But Suhas Esports, they pick up the Saber on top of the Paquito. This might be a jungle Saber just to completely one-shot a Ling off the map. And this is very ballsy of Suhas Esports, but I like it. I love the idea that's going to be coming in from this Saber pickup. This is risky, but I like it. Wait, or maybe is it going to be a jungle Paquito? Nah,
I think
Saber jungle, right?
It's a little hard to say. I'm not 100% sure on this one myself, but it seems like Suhas Esports, they want to make sure they can shut down either the potential carry in the gold lane from Momo, but most importantly, take out the Ling, right? Because again, Ling is going to be looking for those big initiations with a follow-up from the rest of the Todak members, and if they can just one-shot him before things go south for them and minimize that damage, I think Suhas Esports has a chance.
This is what I really love about Impulse, right? They're not afraid to take risks. Bringing in a Saber as the opening match, I'm looking forward to see how well this is going to go, because if they take the W against Todak, that proves and they're able to make a big statement in towards MPL. But as of yet, the drops has been set by both Todak as well as Suhas Esports, and I'm looking forward to see how the first game of Season 10 and regular season is going to look like.
Welcome everybody. This is the debut game of Suhas Esports going up last season's Supreme Champions. It's going to be Todak here in game number 1. Welcome back to the land of Dawn.
Woo-wee, the crowd is going absolutely crazy as of yet. I'm not sure if you guys at home can hear it, but the energy here is surreal. Toda on the red side, you can see Formase thinking to go for a lane cut right from the get-go in the XP lane, but seems like he's not going to be able to do too much as of yet.
Okay, so this is pretty interesting. Razen is specifically going to be in the jungle. Vinsmoke is going to be playing the support position and try to contest Rival as much as he can, but hopefully he doesn't die and give away first blood this early. No, he doesn't. That's perfect. CT Norsana, he's going to have a hard job because this is Paquito against Amos. A single mistake from either one of these EXP laners could lead to a death.
Yeah, this is kind of risky coming from Suhas as well, but Yumski, he got it, he stole it! Oh, what a cheeky play. He's trying to force Razen for early retribution, but he already used it rather early, so there's nothing much he could have done. Formase, however, gonna be in a little bit of trouble, but the question remains on Suhas Esports. I think they had the idea of playing the roaming assassin, just because of how they're comfortable playing with a Natalia composition. So Suhas Esports, they're playing something that is off the usual meta, and it might actually bite them in the butt because if you think about it, Grok can just freely invade and there's absolutely nothing this Saber can do until he hits his 4.
Exactly, and I think 4 is going to be important. Oxygen
no.
now in some trouble. He's walking in the rifts. He's forced to flicker out of there. That's going to be a big spell as the upcoming turtle fight is happening in about 19 seconds.
Yep. Momo is having a pretty decent time. Vinsmoke is going to be backing up Abumon a little bit, but as of yet, it seems like Suhas, they just want to make sure that Abumon is going to be able to have a safe farm rather than getting picked off. And they're playing safe, but Toda is just leading in terms of gold chart just because of the amount of pressure that Formase is just doing across the map. Because right now on the bottom side, he's able to pull 2 players by himself, and this is pretty much split off Suhas Esports and losing out a lot of the mid control right now.
Well, let's not forget that it is a pretty difficult matchup for Abumon up on the top side of the map, right? I mean, Beatrix into Popo and Koopa. Generally, it's Popo and Koopa favorite here, but let's see now as Yumski is going to get under attack. How are they going to contest this Lord? I think Todak can actually stall this for as long as possible because they are still losing gold in EXP on the top side of the map. Look, Abumon, he's not even level 4 right now.
I'm really surprised by the discipline plays coming from Suhas Esports. They respect the plays that Toda is making, and they understand that right now, they're strong. They know Yumski's can't exactly do too much, and CT Norsana looking for the kill, but Yumski escapes with the wall charge, but the turtle will be secure from Suhas, and they also take down Rivals, and that's a big takedown coming from Suhas Esports.
A really nice play coming in from Suhas Esports. They punished Todak for trying to freeze them out and stall out this turtle take, but initially they were looking for opportunities to punish Yumski specifically. They got his flicker and immediately tried to go for a kill. Rival, unfortunately, taking too bold of a move since Vinsmoke hit his level 4 and gets punished for it.
Well, it's the first game vibes, ladies and gentlemen. But at the same time, let's take a look at the emblems real quick from all the teams. Nothing super out of the ordinary, I guess. You know, Grok going for the pull yourself together just for a little bit more battle spells and respawn time. He's going to be dying a lot, but Yumski hasn't been dying, so he's doing a pretty good job. He's just taking precautionary measures as of yet.
I mean, the same goes for Oxygen and Vinsmoke. Both of them decided to go for movement speed just so that they can rotate around the map faster, and I'm guessing that they're going in pairs because Vinsmoke probably is either going to help a lane by just either pushing out the laner or helping them push the lane with his orbiting blades.
Yep, Toda, even though they've lost one kill, they are still winning in terms of cross-map objectives. They want to make sure that Momo as well as Formase is pretty farmed up before the next team fight, and they expect Rival to make this kind of space. However, that's going to be a little bit difficult because Suhas Esports is just not giving them any kind of opportunities to make some kind of drastic plays because as of yet, Razen is going to try and make an attempt on towards Momo. Yumski is there to back him up, but looks like it's just not worth it to actually contest a Popo and Koopa right now.
The timing was a little awkward there because as they walked out, Abumon just stepped right into the Frost Trap. Really unfortunate because Razen actually did get the initial stun, but once the call was made, they moved off. Rival continuously getting attacked. CT Norsana now taking control over the bottom side of the EXP. In another 14 seconds, we're going to see another turtle fight, but I think Formase is doing a good job trying to scrape by as much EXP as possible through these side camps.
Yeah, this is really smart coming from CT Norsana. He knows the corrosion side power spike on Formase is going to hurt him in a 1v1 lane matchup. His focus immediately shifting and just trying to distract Rivals as much as he can, and it's actually working out because he's able to set up Razen properly for this second turtle, and there's nothing Toda is going to be able to do anything about it unless they make some sort of plays. And currently, Suhas Esports, they regain back their economy.
No, this is, honestly, I think Toda, yes, Suhas does gain back their economy, but this is to be expected. We saw from the draft what Suhas Esports was looking to play. Oh, CT Nosana taking very short trades against Formaze, which is really good. He doesn't want to stack up the corrosion side, and more importantly, Todak playing on the opposite side of the map, catching Suha's Esports on a really good timing immediately after the turtle play.
Well, Todak, they're really respecting Suha's Esports this game after that one blunder. This time they're just trading maps across maps, but seems like the wall blocks is coming in. A big wall charge comes in, but there's no follow-up whatsoever coming from Todak. And it seems like they're just a little bit too hesitant to play against Suhas right now. And it's weird. This is not the usual Todak that we are used to seeing right now.
No, they don't know where Vinsmoke is and whether or not he's going to use his ult. I think it's too risky, right? Todak, if they're going to take a fight against Suha's Esports, it's all ultimate dependent. Where is CT Nosana? Where is Raisin? And more importantly, where is Vinsmoke? Because they don't want to lose a tool when they look for these big engagements coming in from Yumski. That's what I'm talking about. They find the rotation, immediately punish Moon as he tries to flicker on out of there.
Well, double assassin comms coming from Suha's Esports is got Todak spooked, but as of yet, Formaze cross-map plays is across, and they are going to be able to take off both the tier 1s on the top and the bottom lane. So that's going to be a little bit more map control before the next turtle or maybe even the Lord Pit comes in. So that's going to be the ideology from the side Todak. Open up the map as much as possible and then hit them when they are caught mid-rotating from the side of Suha's Esports.
I do think it's a little greedy that Moon decided to take Flicker instead of getting Purify, because I think Purify is going to have some high value against the raw CC coming out of Suha's Esports. But now they're attempting to take the tier 1. Raisin, he wants to guarantee this, uses the heavy blows to push them away as they rotate off of this tier 1. Yumski, can he go for a potential catch here as Formaze looking for the interception? He finds Ryzen so far, but Abumon gets on top of Moon, puts him to 1 HP. It's not enough as Oxygen is on the chase. Moon drops down his ult as well, but Formaze finding one into Raisin, looking for a second as Oxygen finds his own. Moon finally falls, and Yumski, he can't afford to die, but Abumon says, no, give it over. Oxygen goes for a second on the opposite side of the map. Rival looking to pick up as much as he can. It's a 1-for-3 trade in favor of Suha's Esports.
What am I watching? Suha's Esports just completely dissected Todak in game number 1. Who would have thought this is happening? Abumon, the playmaker for that particular fight. This time, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Formaze doesn't want to get him off the hook, but the rest of Suha's Esports is here to back him up.
Yep, they're going to be pushing away. I think Todak at this point of time, Moon is getting heavily punished. He cannot afford to look and face check, essentially, or even check brushes in general, because that's what Vinsmoke provides to the table. Oh, you want to check a brush? You can try, but I will ult you and bring my teammate. You will not have enough time to react to this.
Yeah, this is going to be a difficult one, especially with this Julian on Oxygen. He's been very, very patient in his pickoffs, and so far, 5 kills in the bag of Suha's Esports has been very, very beneficial for them. But economy-wise, Todak, they're still keeping up despite losing out members, and this is something that Todak is just so good at when it comes to trading objectives.
All right, let's not forget that Todak has the more mobile draft here. Raisin, he looked like he was about to get caught, but quickly uses his ult to try and push out of the situation. They force out a lot of ults, and I think this is an over-investment from Todak's side. This could be a potential punish coming in from Suha's Esports in the next 20 seconds or so.
Yo, Formaze getting greedy with this plays as well. Todak, they know they messed up with their skills. They need to trade a little bit of objectives in case Suha decides to threaten for the Lord. But it seems like you said as well, the cross-map plays and the lanes being controlled from the side of Todak is just making Suha's Esports clump up in a situation where they can't exactly push out too aggressively.
Exactly. Todak is playing a strong 4-1. Formaze, he's not going to be able to do too much in these team fights, so he's going to pull pressure, but they find a kill onto Vinsmoke. Momo manages to pull it off somehow, and now CT Nosana on the run.
Oh, look how quickly he's got to get out. But at the same time, Vinsmoke, he's got 2 kills. He's the roamer. It's not that much of a deal for Suha's Esports. But no, Yumski!
No.
He sold the purple buff. You hate to see this. And that's going to be Todak trying to threaten with the Lord. They're forcing Suha to fight this right now. And is Suha going to take the bait because it's half health on the Lord as of yet?
It's too risky right now. I think Rival, he's 2 levels up on Raisin, so he can almost guarantee
the solo kill.
But he gets the solo kill, and now it's now or never. Suha's need to make a choice, and it's too late. CT Nosana is the next to fall. They delayed this long enough, but they go for the rush. Raisin and as well as Rival going to go head-to-head in this battle. Do they find it? Yes, they do! Suhas gets the Lord, but what do they have to sacrifice in return? A 4-for-1 trade in favor of Todak, and now with Lord in the hands of Suha's Esports, Todak look to retaliate.
Oh, you could see the desperation coming from Razy. He didn't know what to do. His teammates was down, but guess what? The damage coming from Retribution on top of the snipes coming from Agumon was able to secure him with the Lord. That precision is what saved them that fight. But at the same time, Todak, they still have the economy lead, and Todak, they still want to go for the crossman plays. But before that, let's take a look at the items real quick.
Yeah, looking at the items so far, it looks like a traditional build coming in from Saber. Nothing too out of the ordinary, just raw damage all the way through, and is most cost-efficient as possible. Like, Malefic Roar obviously could be changed out for Blade BOD, Blade of Despair, but your support, you don't exactly have the biggest income in the world. However, when we look over at Rival, he is already 3 items up. He can basically win any 1v1. I would make an exception for CT Norsana. I think it's a little 50-50 there, but here we go. The next engagement about to begin.
Yep, seems like Todak, they want to force a fight as well. They are going to be going for a catch. Rival almost going for the fight. Oxygen. Oxygen doing a lot of damage, but Suwaz Esports, they're just not quick to respond. They're across the map, but here comes the snipe. There's some serious damage coming from Agumon.
Really? Well, I mean, yes, that's a lot of damage coming from Agumon, but Oxygen got oddly close to killing Rival there, and he's 4 level downs and a full item down as well, so still surprised. Even after the hotfix, Julian still feels good.
Yeah, it definitely feels good if you get the right catch, but seems like the double assassin meta coming from Suwaz Esports is not working out. They need to get consistent catches as much as they can, and Todak, they're just not giving it to them at all. They're just taking objectives across the maps and coming out on top, and the Lord, I'm a little bit surprised. I was expecting more coming from Suwaz Esports, but Todak finding all these opportunities puts them in a very, very comfortable position right now.
I mean, look, this is the reason why they are considered to be a top-class team, and especially in global standings, not too bad as well for Todak. I mean, if we're looking at the damage being dealt, Oxygen still somehow, you know, even after hot fixes on Julian, still topping the charts in terms of damage. But Todak, what they're really good at is finding holes in your gameplay, right? And with a 4-in-1 composition like this, they're just forcing Formaze to be checking brushes, clearing out one side of the map, taking control of it, and using the mobility from Rival to capitalize on these situations.
Yeah, with Todak having 3.4k a lead and Moon now having the Genius Wand, he's going to do some serious damage as compared to Oxygen right now. But let's take a look at the actual stats coming in from Suwaz Esports Lord push early on. It seems like they have lost 1.2k gold against Todak, but XP-wise, they've done pretty good. But the catch coming from Suwaz Esports completely shutting down Formaze.
Wait, they're looking for the trade here. CT Norsana manages to get out. Razen, he should be totally fine here. He's tanky enough. He's already lost his 1,000-pounder, and he's trying to get on out. The body slam was more than, it should have been more than enough to get him out of that situation. But hey, you know, Todak, they cannot deal with such a thick jungler like Akai.
Yeah, patience is going to be the key coming from Suwaz Esports once again. The double assassin, they need to find the right target to take down, and that is most likely going to be either Rivals or Momo for now. And I feel like Rival is pretty much the biggest threat right now because of all these cross-map plays. Suwaz Esports is just struggling to push out the lanes because they have to somehow maintain the lanes in order to do something across the map.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they only have 2 laners who actually have some form of good and reliable wave clear, right? CT Norsana and Ryzen are kind of in an awkward spot, and with the real-world manipulation being dropped, this is going to be a signal to attack. They find Moon in the backline. The 2 assassins trying to get on out of there, but Agumon and as well as Vince Smoke pay the ultimate price. Ryzen is trying to push them away, but it's too late. The heavy spin is down, and they lose 3 members in a single engagement. Moon sacrificing his life for 3 as Todak now retreat back to take away this Luminous Lord.
This is huge from Todak. This is why they're so good at doing all these cross-map plays. They knew for a fact that the Oxygen was busy clearing the waves down bottom, and for him to rotate up top was pretty much nearly impossible, and they were able to take that fight 5v4 hands down. And Suwaz Esports, they just can't do anything about this situation unless they figure out how to stop this momentum. And the assassin play, I'm not gonna lie, great catch coming from Moon, but escape-wise, not exactly too good for them.
Yeah, I mean, when they're trying to disengage, it's really, really difficult to actually get out of these situations, right? Especially with the CC from Todak. But the winning predictions here, all calculated by an artificial intelligence. They haven't explained to us how exactly it calculates it, but it gets pretty accurate here with a 42% chance over compared to 58. So, some not too bad odds.
Yep, now with the Lord pushing in Todak, they are going to be looking to make some sort of plays. They do have the damage coming from Suwaz Esports, so they are going to be able to defend against this very easily. But based on the wave-wise, Todak, they're looking to get one inhibitor somewhere across the map. It seems like it's going to be a top lane for Momo, based on their sieging potential, they just have so much tower damage capabilities coming from Dota, and Suhas, they need to figure a way to stall right now, and if they find the right target, they're going to be able to make a comeback.
Yep, this is looking very clean coming in from Todak. I mean, they understood what Suhas Esports was trying to do. Suhas Esports was trying to win based off of their power spike at level 4 and try to create as big of a lead as possible. And since they have kind of gotten past the mid game, right, Todak, they scale significantly better compared to Suhas at this stage of the game. So now it's up to Suhas Esports to take out key members with their assassins. How they're going to set it up, or how even to get on those right targets, is a completely separate story.
Yeah, the biggest threat right now from Suhas Esports is got to be dealing with rivals. Like, they need to take this link out of the equation so that they can have some sort of control of their lanes. But while they're doing that, when they saw their lanes, I feel like the biggest threat is like the moment rival dies, by the time they sort out the lanes, Rival's going to be back on action for the next fight. And that's going to be the rinse repeat coming from Toda until Suhas Esports keeps making this mistake. So it's going to be very difficult, but if they find an opportunity like this, they are going to be able to make a comeback. But like I said, it's going to be a tough one, especially of how nimble Rival is.
Well, I wouldn't even say Rival's the big issue. I would say that Suhas Esports, their biggest issue is just compositional limitations, right? How many resource must you blow to take out Rival, right? It's just getting Oxygen, getting Vinsmoke on one target, and guaranteeing a death. Now, let's have a look at the Lord push advantage so far. For Todak, they were able to get 3.3k worth of gold, and it's reflected here by the 50k compared to the 43k gold advantage that Todak has so far.
Yeah, that's a huge lead coming from Todak. They have made their comeback despite the early game's blunder, and that's the thing about assassin compositions, right? You need to snowball as hard as you can, but if you can't, Todak, they are going to be skating a little bit better into the later stage game, because as of yet, they don't really have a good solution on how to take down 4 Mei's as well as Yumskis together, because Beatrix is not enough, and based on the compositions, they have the burst, but they just don't have the DPS. And look at this, Yumski, he survives, and immediately the trade comes in. Rivals, he actually get picked off.
Oh, almost taking out Momo here. Real world manipulation disengages the team as 4Mei's caught in the middle of it all. He can tank the damage, but the backup decides to bail him out. Most important abilities have been blown from Suhas Esports. This gives an opportunity for Todak to try clear up the lanes and, more importantly, start this Luminous Lord. 17 minutes, CT Norsana trying to stop the recalls. He can't afford to let them heal back up to full. He's got the immortality, and now Suhas is going to press their agenda by starting this Lord. 4Mei's looping around, sees Abumon, presses his vengeance, and almost taking him out. He finds it, gets one. Abumon makes it out of there, killing Rival in the process. 4Mei's comes back to life thanks to his immortality. They're going to be looking for CT Norsana, break his immortality as Moon trapped all by himself, dropping a real war manipulation to buy a little bit more time, but it looks like it's going to be a 2-for-3 trade.
Yo, that was a big clutch coming from Ryzen, and that blunder, his heavy speed completely saves Abumon's life to prolong it a little bit more to actually buy some more damage for the team. But meanwhile that's happening, Todak, they still want the fight. However, they've lost a huge amount of gold swing just because of the comeback mechanics. So Suhas Esports, they're in prime position to contest it once again, but at the same time, look at the top lane. The lanes are pushing into a Suhas Esports, and this is what we're talking about, lane management, and Todak is just taking an inch by inch by inch, and they're just getting objectives across the map.
I mean, Todak is an extremely dynamic team. They see these holes, they find these red threads that connect it all together, and they use these small leads that stack up, and you just, honestly, it feels like you're slow bleeding.
That was a Demon Slayer reference, weren't you?
Huh?
Shred, you know, looking for the kill mark, following the line.
I'm sorry, do I look like a weeb to you?
You are.
You're not entirely wrong, and I'm not going to further continue this conversation as Lord has spawned and Todak is going to be sitting right on top of it. Suhas, this is going to be a make it or break it for them. If they do not at least steal away the Lord, and if they lose too many members, it could spell doom.
Well, seems like this is going to be the calm before the storm, but you can see the desperation coming from Suhas Esports. Todak has got everything in control, but Real Manipulation has been expanded. But look at the sides. Oxygen going for the catch, but a free heavy spin, no follow-up. They instantly turn the tides, but on the sides as well, you can see Ryzen will be taken off. Winspoke completely booted up from 4Mei's. Abumon left alone to fend for himself, and that's going to be a triple kill for Todak.
What a play coming out from Rival, baiting Oxygen to go for that that last hit, dodges out of the way with the Divine Blades. Todak now with a man advantage, 5 still alive and 3 dead from Suhas. They are looking to end this, no Lord required.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be a difficult one as well. The Rail Mobilization will be enough, and Todak will come in clean. Vinsmoke tries his best for his last hurrah, but it's not going to do too much, and that is going to be the Crystal taken out, and that will be Todak taking game 1 in the first game of regular season.